Welcome, friends, to yet another episode of the Youth Unite program. Last time we dwelt on wellness wisdom, and in continuation of this journey of personal mastery and effectiveness, today we are going to enter the mystical world, which is something that is as old as time itself. It's a never-ending quest for happiness and fulfillment. What is happiness? What is fulfillment? So many things that people have contributed towards these two mystical words. So our objective here is to understand what happiness truly means, use a couple of frameworks to dive deeper into this elusive topic, reflect on ourselves, and gain insights from some inspiring quotes. So I am going to ask you to start off by gently closing your eyes and reflect on the following questions. Number one, what does happiness mean to you? When do you feel the most fulfilled? Two questions I want you to think about. Take a pause. You can put a pause on this one at this point in time and reflect on this. It will help if you close your eyes and dive deeper into yourself to reflect on these two questions. So you must have jotted down a few words or phrases that has come to your mind. What I want you to do is check your notes to see if they include any of these two phrases. I am happy when, that's one. And the other one is I am happy if. Now reflect on what your happiness is dependent on, because the sentences were I am happy when and I am happy if. Are these factors in your control or influence, or are they outside your control or influence? So now let's spend a few minutes on exploring a very simple yet impactful concept propounded by Dr. Stephen Covey in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Dr. Stephen Covey leans heavily on some very powerful principles from ancient literature, which includes the Bhagavad Gita, and draws deeply from the lives of inspiring historical figures. For me, the one stands out very vividly since I first read this book in 1993. Incidentally, it was a wedding gift. Dr. Stephen Covey quotes Dr. Viktor Frankl from his book Man's Search for Meaning. Now, I believe this particular quote was already shared in an earlier episode, but it is definitely worth sharing again. And I quote again, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies the power to choose our response. And in that response lies our growth and freedom. Now, this quote has been and continues to be a guiding beacon for me since the past 3 decades. And it never fails to amaze me with its simplicity and profoundness. I now want you to take a meaningful pause here to reflect on what this quote means to you. So just again close your eyes if that helps. I want you to explore the 3 key words here: stimulus, space, and response. Now, once you have thought this through, I want you to think about the following questions. What are the stimuli in your daily life? Consider what is internal to you and what is external to you. Second question, are you creating the necessary space before responding to the stimuli? Third, are you reacting or are you responding? And ask yourself, what is the difference between these two words, reacting, responding? Because we tend to use these words interchangeably. In fact, we think they are the same, while they are not. Because one comes from the reactive part of the brain, which is the primary or primordial brain, And the response comes from our fully human brain, which is called the neocortex. So understanding the difference between the two also has a huge impact in the way that we respond or react going forward. Dr. Stephen Covey goes on to explain how we tend to be mostly in a reactive mode, which in turn impacts the quality of our lives significantly. He offers insights into the space between stimulus and response to make us more proactive and less reactive. So he has come up with this proactive model. He proposes that to make us more proactive in our responses, we have to exercise A, self-awareness, B, imagination, C, conscience, and D, independent will. Self-awareness is nothing but our ability to know how I feel about myself. It's awareness of my inner self. B, the imagination is nothing but my power of visualization, understanding what could be the potential consequences of the response that I have running in my mind. C is conscience. Conscience is driving deeper into my core values, what defines me as a person, as a being, what resonates deeply with me. And finally, when it comes to executing what comes from within me, do I have the will to execute, even if it is something that I don't like doing? A common example that I typically think of, which is true for me, is I do have a commitment to be fit for life. I'm aware of the need to be fit for life. And when I come across a buffet table which is loaded with dessert, rasgullas and gulab jamuns and all that time I pause. I go deep into myself and I try to visualize the consequence of eating that sweet. And then I connect to the values, which is about being fit for life. And then comes the challenge. Do I have the willpower to walk away from the buffet table without touching any of those tempting sweets? This is a very commonplace example, but imagine this at play in every dimension of your life. So all these basically boils down to your ability to make choices. And humans are uniquely gifted with the ability to choose their response. Are we using it? Otherwise, we are animal beings. So unless we use this ability to choose the way Stephen Covey talks about in a proactive way, we are not humans. So our happiness essentially lies simply in the choices that we make. Now let us explore this further with a visualization exercise. I invite you now to draw 3 large concentric circles in a blank page. So one large one, then a smaller one, and a smaller one. And make sure there's enough room between each circle, because I'll be inviting you to add some words on it. So let us start with the outermost circle, which is what we call circle number 1. Now, if you think of the world, people commonly use the word, it's a VUCA world. VUCA is a more corporate jargon, means volatile, uncertain, confusing, and ambiguous. Okay? So, we live in a world which is very challenging. It's almost like being in a war in some instances. So, these circles are nothing but what is happening in the VUCA world. Now, again, this is a visualization exercise. So, in this circle, the first circle that I asked you to draw, the bigger one, think of those events in your life that are at play with you, irrespective of your ability to control the outcomes in them. Okay? So, a simple example that I can think of is traffic. Everybody has to commute to work, so we must manage the traffic on the way. Depending on the city that you are in, that decides how difficult or easy the commute is. I come from Bangalore. In Bangalore, it's a nightmare. Now, the point is, we have no control on it, but we tend to discuss it, worry about it, get frustrated by it, sometimes even joke about it, and more often than not, lose our temper every time we get stuck in a traffic gridlock at some junction. But can you do anything about it? It's beyond your control. We only learn to manage it. We learn to find better ways to commute or choose a time which is less crowded, but the traffic is not going to be changed because of what we say or do. So there are similarly many such events that trigger our anger, anxiety, concern, frustration, etc. It is not necessary that they should always trigger the negative emotions. They could also trigger positive ones. So some events could even entertain us and make us feel joyful. We could have pleasure in those moments as they appeal to our sensory needs. Again, a simple example could be watching a sporting event like the IPL or even following the lives of some movie celebrities. Now, again, I want you to take a moment to reflect at this point and jot down those events in your life which come under this circle. Now, you'll be surprised to see how many are included in them. Now, you fill as much as you can, remembering that they are not in our control whatsoever. So, I'm going to show you some representative responses here. This is what I have collected over the years whenever I ask these questions to my audience as to what is it that is in the circle of what is Stephen Covey calls as a circle of concern or things that are not in my control. You can see there's a whole range of things that are there. Taxation, during COVID, it was the issue about the virus, COVID-idiots who used to spread a lot of fake news. People are continuously worried about job security, pay cuts, the GDP, economy, stock market, petrol, forex exchanges, regulations, taxation, politics. What is happening in Bollywood? What is IPL results going to be? We of course have natural calamities that are really increasing frequently with every passing year. A lot of politics at play. We have the elections coming up in the next month or two. What's happening in social media? Some people worry about life after death. So on and so forth. It's a never-ending stream of events that are continuously knocking, what we call the stimuli knocking at us. And social media today brings all these items continuously into our lives. And just at a touch of a screen or a button. We wake up in the morning, the first thing we do is switch on our Wi-Fi or mobile data and the world just engulfs us. And it's all from this particular circle. So we are very vulnerable to changing moods and experiencing different levels of happiness and sorrow just by news from this particular circle, inputs from this particular circle. Now, if you think about it, this circle is also a circle that helps us become resilient in the face of the stresses that come along with these events, and also helps us build our sense of discrimination. Discrimination is a sense of deciding what I should respond to, what I should not respond to. So I become more discriminating if I'm aware that I'm operating in this circle. So the awareness is very important, and that's why we talk about creating the space. So the more we become aware, the more we become choosy about what stimuli I should or should not respond to, the more resilient I become. And that is directly leading to the journey and quest of happiness and fulfillment. One can say that this is the circle where we find reasons to why we are not happy rather than why we are happy. Okay? So that's the largest circle. Now let's look at the next circle, which is the circle number 2. The circle number 2 is entirely to do with people. Every person that we interact with in our lives fall in this circle of what we call influence. Now again, the exercise for you is add the names of the people that you live with, work with, interact with, physically or virtually, doesn't matter. Think of everybody that you would typically interact with, not just one day, 2 days, but these are people that you are interacting with either frequently or infrequently, doesn't matter. Just take a pause, write down the names of those people. It covers a broad range of what we can call stakeholders. From the interactions that I've had with audiences on this topic, most common ones are our life partners, our children, our parents, grandparents, relatives, friends, community members, domestic help, boss, peers, direct reports. Of course, then we have vendors, clients, etc. Quite a vast array of people. Now think of them as the people that I have to influence. So these are the people that we need to influence or who needs to influence us. Now watch out for the fact that again, we cannot control them, nor can they control us. Okay, somebody may argue that domestic help is somebody who controls us. Now that's a different point. Now happiness in this circle is when we are able to balance expectations and use multiple ways to influence the people here. So what does this mean? How can I influence these people? What are the ingredients that will enable me to influence these people? So there are plenty of ingredients. You might have come across them. These are freely used, like mutual respect, trust, effective communication, acceptance, active learning, empathy, love, patience, etc. Quite a few ingredients if you think about it. It's not that you need to have all of them, but depending on the person and the relationship that you have with them, you decide what works best in that relationship. Now, when you take a business context, this takes the form of alignment of expectations, giving and receiving feedback, delegating for performance, constructive conflicts, and collaboration. Now, finally, we come to the innermost circle, which is also the smallest circle. And you would have guessed by now what the circle represents. And you're absolutely right. It's the only place where I have full control, and that is on my choices, my decisions, my responses, etc. Now, these cover the key aspects of my life which impact my own self. Simple things as what I eat, when I sleep, how much I exercise, how much I read, educate myself, contribute to community, donate, work, etc. Now, you will realize that it is all about self-centeredness. Self with a capital S. Our sense of happiness is high when our sense of self is elevated and we enjoy the feeling of expanding consciousness. So here is another reflective question for you. Which is easier to do? Increase my circle of control or decrease my circle of concern? Experience will guide us to understand that it is easier to reduce our circle of concern and increase our circle of influence. We just need to figure out what we have to start, stop, continue, or change in our daily lives. That will enable us to regain and intensify our control and experience for long-lasting happiness. Now, the simplest tool that will enable us to happen is the 4 core practices of heartfulness. Our heartfulness meditation practices are designed to help us focus effortlessly on our higher self and stay in a place of prolonged happiness, not a temporary high. So we shall continue on this topic in part 2 of this session. For now, let us experience happiness with a heartfulness meditation session for the next 15 minutes.
Sit comfortably and close your eyes softly and gently. Feel a healing energy move up from the earth into your toes, feet, and ankles. Feel your toes relax and your feet relax, and allow your ankles to relax. Now feel this healing energy move up to your knees. As it moves up, it relaxes your calf muscles. Feel this energy remove all the tension from your knees. Now it is moving further up your legs, into your thighs. Feel your thighs relaxing. Now the energy has moved into your hips and waist. Feel them relax. As the energy moves up, your lower back is relaxing. And your stomach. Now the energy has moved into your chest area. Feel it relax. Feel the energy move up your back and into your shoulders. Feel your upper back relax. And feel your shoulders simply melting away. The energy is now moving into your arms. They too are getting relaxed. Feel all the tension from your elbows leaving. And as the energy moves into your forearms, they too are getting relaxed. Remove all the tension from your wrists as the energy moves into your hands and right up to your fingertips. Now move your attention up to your neck. The energy is moving up and relaxing your neck muscles. Now it is moving into your face, relaxing your jaw and mouth. The energy moves into your nose and eyes, relaxing them. Your cheek muscles are relaxed. Feel your earlobes relax. And now the energy is moving all the way up to the top of your head. Feel it relax. Feel your entire body is relaxed from top to toe. Now move your attention to your heart. Feel that a source of light is already present in your heart, and it is attracting you from within. Do not try and see the light, just know that it is there in your heart. Be open and receptive to a very subtle energy flowing into you. Relax into this feeling. If you find your awareness drifting at any time to other thoughts, don't fight them. Let them be. Gently remind yourself that you are meditating on the light in your heart. Allow yourself to become more and more absorbed within. Remain absorbed until you hear further guidance. while keeping your eyes closed. Gently come out of the state of meditation. Now gently open your eyes. Reflect on what you just experienced. Try and retain this condition as you return to your daily routine.